Well, the president was very clear in the comments that you just played, which is that he's talking about the semiconductor industry, which is one of the most coveted industries in the world, one of the most national security important industries in the world. Very few other countries are able to compete in this space, and all of those jobs left for Taiwan. And so the advanced semiconductor industry, which is essential to our national security, has been taken out of the country. And so he's talking about a program in which you have a knowledge transfer to Americans of how to do a very specific manufacturing process. That's completely separate and apart from the fact, as you mentioned, that President Trump, through 212F, has put a $100,000 fee on new H-1Bs. We're already seeing a dramatic change in the processing of these visas as a result of that. The Department of Labor has launched Project Firewall to fight illegal discrimination against Americans and illegal abuses of the H-1B program. You also have the highest standard of vetting that ever been in place in new visas, including foreign student visas. The State Department has revoked tens of thousands of visas, and they're just getting started with tens of thousands of more. We have a new focus on denaturalizations. We have a new focus on cutting back on welfare tourism and welfare migration. And, of course, you've seen, again, for the first time in over half a century, net negative migration to this country. You have more foreigners leaving the country than those that are being added on a permanent basis. The last time that happened, again, was over half a century ago during the period in American history in which we had net negative migration for an extended period of time.
I think that
Welcome to the JJ Carrell Show. One of my top people in government, Stephen Miller. Unflinching, anti-illegal immigrant, activist, if you will, since his high school days in Santa Monica High School. Santa Monica High School, in the hotbed of insanity in California. Now, there's a lot said in what Stephen Miller just stated in that short clip. And I'm going to run through. My first segment is all about the immigration issue, the illegal immigration. And now we can just kind of push it. I'll be a Democrat and just kind of push it all together into all one. We have a legal immigration and an illegal immigration problem. Stephen Miller saying we're finally at a net negative. That net negative has to be historical, meaning tens of millions every single year for the next 3 years. 10+ million illegal aliens must leave this country every single year. The visa program must be stopped. On another note, Rubio, I think, has already taken, correct me if I think that I'm right on this, that at least 150-ish thousand visas have been canceled. Marco Rubio is doing that, showing people here on visa. I think it was 16,000 on drunk driving charges. I mean, but see, this is the fracturedization of America in law enforcement. All of this should be tied into one giant database, an FBI, NCIC, whatever you want to come up database. I don't care. And it should already be in existence, but states won't participate. Meaning, when I get a guy, let's say from Bangladesh, and he's on some student visa and he's attending Columbia University and gets in a drunk driving charge, immediate charge should ring the bell, and that should alert the local PD. You have to hold this guy. ICE comes in, says, you are under arrest. We're going to put you in ICE facility until you get this drunk driving charge. Once you're convicted, you're gone. You're gone. Don't tell me about due process. Don't tell me about all that, because legal immigrants do not have the full protection of the United States Constitution. Wake up and be educated, America. You have been lied to your whole entire life. Illegal aliens have no protection under the Constitution unless they're being charged for some kind of violent crime and get due process, and then their ass is deported. Legal immigrants have no First Amendment right. None. You can't come here as a legal immigrant and protest. You can't be in street protests. You can't be in college protests. You can't do anything. In fact, you need to keep your nose clean. You can't get any social benefits, but they all are. Illegal immigration is destroying our country. It's destroying it. There is no more, I wonder how bad, or is it really? No, no, no. Stephen Miller and people like that are trying to correct the problem. I will say this, Donald Trump is trying. I can't imagine the enormity of this issue. Now, would I love to be in part of that? Would I love to have? Yes, because I would do things differently and I would be getting, I believe, better results. That's just the truth. I don't care how it sounds. Well, what would I do different? Well, the very first thing that I would do is I would hire or I would deploy the military with the Border Patrol. And I would have them cross-designated as immigration officers, but their main job would be perimeter protection of ICE and Border Patrol. That's it. No protesters get within 100 yards of these guys. They're going to do their job. And if you get involved, you're going to be under arrest. That's number one. I got number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for another show. My point is, more needs to be done. But Stephen Miller is absolutely spot on. But he also was sent out to do a little damage control on the statement that we're not as talented as Indian nationals. We need more Chinese students. That has to be addressed. Donald Trump has to walk that back, but that's not his nature. His nature is to double down. His nature is to never walk anything back, and he won't walk this back. It's going to hang in the air. It's going to piss off a large segment of the MAGA base that are so tired of hearing about how foreign countries are so great. If foreign countries were so great, why are Americans not fleeing to them? Why are they not staying in their home countries? Well, it's very simple. Their home countries suck. That's why they're coming here. We have talked about this many times, but I'm going to reiterate it again because it's massive and no one really wants to even touch this. J.D. Vance touched it. He needs to touch it over and over and over again. And what is that? It is the housing crisis that's happened in America. But I can go farther. It's an education crisis. It's a medical crisis. It's a food crisis. It's a resources of all types crisis. And what is that? Why is that? Why do we have crisis in America? Because we have infrastructure and a government and government services built to service 340 million people. When you add the illegal and legal immigrants, we are now servicing 450 plus million people on a system that is only built for 340 million. Let's take it just as a water issue. Let's take it as a sanitation issue. We have our plumbing, our pipes, our infrastructure underground. What if I told you that, hey, all the toilets and all the water and all the sewage and all that is going to be used 25%, 20 to 25% more every single day. If you are an engineer, you are going to sit down at your desk and you are going to plug into an algorithm or a formula, and say, okay, we built this infrastructure to last this long for this many people. Wow. We're probably going to have to take 15, 20, 30 years off that life of those pipes. So we have a major problem coming up for infrastructure. Look at our roads. You think now 110 million more people on your roads? Let me give you a smaller snapshot of what I'm talking about. I used to live in South Dakota, in Rapid City. Absolutely loved it. Loved it. Loved it. They have infrastructure for 65,000 people in Rapid City. Roads, sewage, housing, on and on and on. They have over 1 million plus visitors every year to that small city. So they have infrastructure for 65,000 people where they need infrastructure for 1,065,000 people. That's happening to America on a much larger scale. and everyone is afraid to say it out loud. Why are we not focusing on what is right for Americans? What is right for me? I have ownership of this country. Why? Because I have had a vast portion of my salary ripped from my hands, forced out of my hands. I bought and paid for everything. I have a say. And my say is through my votes. But my votes are worthless. How long have my votes been worthless? How long have they been cheating? My whole entire life? Am I supposed to believe that 2020 was the first time they ever cheated in any election? You would have to be an intellectual moron to believe that. Housing. I'm going to give you a snapshot of New York City. And I want you to listen to again Stephen Miller talking about this, that 40% of those living in New York City's rent-controlled homes are foreign-born. Listen to this and shake your head at the same time.
40% of the population of rent-controlled housing in New York City are foreign-born. Think about that. In one of the largest metropolitan areas in the world, 40% of rent-controlled properties are being lived in by people who weren't even born in the country. What kind of system is this? We bring in people from foreign countries, and then we pay to lower the cost of their housing, while people who were born here have to pay higher prices. So when President Trump is reducing net migration, that is what's going to ultimately, along with all these other steps, deregulation, historic tax cuts, going to bring down the cost of housing.
Yeah. Let me ask you about this. Closer to
when I get frustrated with Donald Trump, and I believe that my frustrations are valid, I swear to you that I push back. I mean, I pull back on myself and just say, imagine if you were in his shoes. Can you imagine being awake, not just being awake 20 hours a day, but being fully focused, just laser focused for 20 hours a day, making massive decisions every single day, and the whole time half of your country is fighting against you? So I give him immense amount of grace. I just get extremely frustrated when I'm looking at what needs to be done, and I'm looking at the hourglass and the sands are just pouring through to the other side. I'm running out of time. I don't trust that Marco Rubio, who was a never Trumper, J.D. Vance, that was a never Trumper, is going to somehow fill those shoes. Maybe I'm wrong, and hopefully I am, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it. We are footing the bill for illegal and foreign nationals in our country. And the Democrat Party is fighting tooth and nail to ensure that doesn't stop. The Republicans will not codify anything that Donald Trump has done. They won't pass laws. They won't do a damn thing. And do you ever ask that three-letter worded question, why? Why? Why aren't they? Because we live in a uniparty universe. We're going to talk about Epstein here in a few minutes because it's the greatest and most current example of the lies, of the manipulation, the propaganda, and ultimately the betrayal of the American people. They don't care because who are they? They are the elites that are getting wealthy beyond our imagination. Let's just look at AOC. Let's look at AOC. Bartender. Not knocking bartender. Think she had $30,000 in debt. Not knocking that either. Maybe she had a car, whatever. She's in over the $20 million range. I don't think she served more than 6 years at $175,000 a year. Let's say she's getting another $26,000, $25,000 a year on some committee she's on. She's getting bonus money. $200,000. 5 years in, she's at $1 million. She lives in New York City. She loses half of that, minimum half of that. She's at $500,000 for 5 years. $100,000 a year living in New York City. Poof, gone. How did she get $20+ million? Let's look at John McCain Jr., Crenshaw. Last I looked, he was at 5.5 million net worth. He was special forces. I want to say Navy SEAL, but I could be wrong. I'm not disparaging. I'm just saying I could be wrong. It's some special forces. So I give him incredible accolades for that, to make that accomplishment and then to serve our country. Same thing with John McCain. Doesn't give you a mulligan for being a crappy ass politician, making horrible decisions. But how the hell did that guy get $5.5 million? And as I said that to somebody that is prominent in Texas politics, he laughed at me. And he said, "Do you actually think that's how much he's worth?" And I was like, "Well, that's what they say." He goes, "That's the baseline, dude." Oh, okay. Thank you. Make me feel even more pissed off. Here's CNN. This woman, I think she used to be a liberal. Her name is, I'm gonna butcher it, but it's Batya Anga Sargon, something in that nature. But what she says is 100% true. And look at the mental patients on either side of her. Look at this guy that he's a professor, Cornell West. He looks like he came from a time machine from the 1960s, from protest in the 1960s. But anyway, go ahead and let's listen to what Batya says.
When Donald Trump was campaigning, he said, when we get elected, we're going to conduct the largest deportation campaign in American history. He did not say the worst of the worst.
Yeah,
and the truth is, Abby,
he did also say the worst
every illegal immigrant in America is either working, in which case they are driving down the wages in an industry because their employers can pay them less, or they are living off the government, in which case American taxpayers are paying for them to live here illegally. Both of those are unacceptable, which is why in every single poll that's come out in the last year, a majority of Americans support not deporting the worst of the worst, but deporting every single illegal migrant.
Listen, as I watch these clips, something that just always pops up. How is it every single time the Democrats fight tooth and nail to allow illegal aliens to stay in America? They don't even try to offer any kind of, well, they pay taxes, because they know that's such BS. Well, you know, they do work that America. No, all of their propaganda has been shown to be a lie. Now they just say, I don't care. I want them here. Have you ever asked yourself, how could one party be so anti-American, and yet the half the country continues to vote for it? Look, I used to think that half the country was mentally ill. I don't think it's half the country. I really don't. I think there's a very significant percentage of the country that is mentally ill that votes for the Democrats. However, I believe because we have brought in so many illegal aliens and foreign nationals that have overstayed and been able to vote, you have a massive majority of people that should never vote are voting, and they're determining who's running our country. That's the truth. New York City is a prime example. It's going to happen in Springfield, Ohio, where 1/3 of their entire population are illegal alien Haitians. Once those dumb Haitians in the voodoo world that they come from, uneducated world, figure out that they can have a seat at the table in a thing called the city council, where they can vote and vote in a Haitian, because whenever the Haitian runs for it, he immediately gets 1/3 of the vote. Like that. Just like that. He gets it, or she gets it. She will be the mayor. You don't think that's going to happen? Let's look at Dearborn, Michigan. Oh, absolutely it's going to happen. Let's look in Laughlin, a suburb of Cincinnati, in Laughlin, Ohio. Over 50% of the population now is illegal aliens from the Islamic Republic of Mauritania. 50%. And you're telling me there's not some left-wing activist lawyer that's not prepping them already and telling all of these communities, you can have a seat at the table. You can dictate everything that goes on. That's what's happening in America. We're not just losing the demographic, we're losing the political battle. They are out birthing us. There's more of them in here because we infused our nation with millions, tens of millions of them. It's going to destroy America. I don't care if that's blackpilling. I don't care if you like me or not. That's just the truth. And you're either going to agree with me now or you're going to be crying in agreement years from now or even sooner. What happens when you bring in millions and tens of millions of illegal aliens under Joe Biden, and then Joe Biden pushes out to the blue states that they are going to facilitate CDLs for illegal aliens? I want you to listen to Secretary Duffy. He says 200,000 CDLs were illegally given to foreigners. 194,000 of them were issued illegally. That means right as you and I are, as you're listening to me speak, 200,000 18-wheelers are driving on our interstates and back roads, and they speak no English. They've been given CDLs with no testing. And we're watching people get murdered. And I call it murdered, not killing. Murdered on the highways by these 18-wheelers every single day. Do you know it's in the thousands annually now? It's like 700% skyrocketing in deaths. Listen to this and just continue to understand that we're being destroyed by the previous administration and the rhinos that run our government today.
Secretary, this ICE situation, ICE arresting a man from Uzbekistan earlier this month while he was driving a commercial truck in Kansas. DHS says this 31-year-old Akwar Bozorov was led into the country by Joe Biden's administration. He was wanted in Uzbekistan in 2022 for alleged ties to terrorism. He was granted work authorization in the United States in early 2024. His commercial driver's license was issued in Pennsylvania. And the photo that DHS released even shows him having a real ID, Secretary. You've gone after California for issuing 17,000 commercial driver's licenses to illegals. Is it time to federalize CDL certifications? What are you doing here? And I mean, it's just astounding to me that someone who was tied to terrorism in Uzbekistan actually got a license to drive a commercial vehicle in Kansas.
Yeah, so first off, it goes to show you that Joe Biden and his administration didn't do any background checks on who was coming into the country. They offered them asylum and they offered them work authorizations and then allowed them to go out and get commercial driver's licenses and operate on American roads, endangering American citizens. And so we have had new rules that have come out to say, you know what, we're going to tighten this up. If you come legally, you have a visa or you're coming from one state to another, you can get what's called a non-domiciled CDL. These are the licenses that these foreigners are using. But to tighten up the rules means we're going to have more safety on American roads. But you mentioned 17,000 from California. We think other states have also issued many illegally commercial driver's licenses. There were 200,000 non-domiciled CDLs issued to foreigners.
Wow.
We think 194,000 of them were issued illegally.
Oh my goodness.
And would not comply with our new rule. And so again, you've aired these crashes, Maria.
Yeah.
They're horrific. When people can't understand the English language, they can't read signs, and they don't know the rules of our road.
Terrible.
That's a problem. Americans aren't safe. And we also see that there's CDL mills, commercial driver's license mills, where people aren't being properly trained. They're being pushed through, getting licenses, and then again driving across the country.
Unbelievable.
If I can make one last point, Maria, it's driving American truckers out of business.
Good point.
And American trucking companies driving the wages down. That's not why we're taking this action, but that's a real consequence of having all these foreigners come in.
That's a great
point. What we're going to do is see those wages rise, and it's still a good paying job in America to be an American truck driver.
Secretary, let me.
194,000 illegal. I am not for centralization of the federal government. Can't stand it. However, because we have so many states that are not complying with federal regulation, that has to be, CDLs have to be federalized. Why? Because we have interstates. So I live in Kansas. So that terrorist was driving a commercial truck in my state. Do you think he was just long hauling furniture? Are you that stupid? Or is he hauling something else? I just don't know anymore what has to be said out loud for America to wake up. I just don't. I have no idea. Let me bring this back to, we are being replaced. And that replacement in terms of numbers and demographics are allowing those that replaced us to vote in their people. I'm going to show you a great example. And this is number 5, Nick. This is going to be Mandami. And I want you to listen to him. He's a globalist. He has no ties to America, does not love America. He is an immigrant that I believe came here fraudulently and should be denaturalized. But watch and listen to what he says about laws. Very interesting.
You said you would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu based on the 2024 International Court arrest warrant. Next UN General Assembly, as mayor, would you do that?
So I've said time and again that I believe this is a city of international law, and being a city of international law means looking to uphold international law, and that means upholding the warrants from the International Criminal Court, whether they're for Benjamin Netanyahu or Vladimir Putin. I think that that's critically important to showcase our values, and unlike Donald Trump, I'm someone who looks to exist within the confines of the laws that we have. So I will look to exhaust every legal possibility, not to create my own laws to do so.
On the other hand, this is also a world event. Does that not count a little bit?
Well, I think we are a global city, but I also think what New Yorkers are looking for is consistency in the way in which we talk about our values and follow through on them. And that's why I think these warrants from the International Criminal Court, they are worth fully exploring every legal possibility to actually follow through on.
You said you would arrest Benjamin
Netanyahu.
Netanyahu.
See, this jackass is now going to focus on international law because they are an international community. Do you see what's happening? Can you finally connect the dots, America? He won't enforce immigration laws that are our federal laws because his community is a global community, an international community, and they should be ruled by international law. Don't you see? Look, my initial reaction is let New York City burn to the ground. It still is, to be quite honest with you. Excuse me. But at the same time, I know that this cancer that's in New York City is not contained, and it never will be contained. It will bleed throughout America. And I'm watching the cancer spread. Where else is it spreading? I'm going to show you a clip of truly a mentally sick person. His name is Juan Araris, blah, 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 right? Before you play this, Nick, let me set this up. This man is an illegal alien from Colombia that somehow got his paperwork. I think he got it from marrying his first wife. Now, I want you to understand when I tell you that he got his green card supposedly, allegedly, through marrying his first wife, but he found out very early on in their marriage that she was a lesbian and he was gay. Who is this man? Well, he's the city councilman running interference on ICE and Border Patrol in Charlotte right now as you and I are having this conversation. Go ahead and play this so our audience understands the mental illness that people have that are running our country. Go ahead.
I fell in love in high school with my best friend, and we got married at the age of 18. And that is how I got my citizenship. And then we both realized that I was, as we were married and going through our growing pains, we both realized that I was a gay man and she was a lesbian woman. And so we tackled that on our own. It was heartbreaking, but at the end of the day, we We still love each other. We're still best friends. I'm actually going to be at her wedding next year, so I'm very excited.
That's great.
Partner.
She's beautiful. Unbelievable. She's a beautiful partner. Do you think that man that he didn't know he was gay, and she didn't know she was gay, and they didn't really know that's how you're going to get your citizenship, right? That just was kind of like a benefit. We didn't even think about it. We got married, got my citizenship, then I got divorced because she's a lesbian, I'm gay. And now he's telling us about how immigration law is going to be enforced. He has no idea about being an American. He's not an American. He's an illegal alien from Colombia. Am I just surmising or guessing that this guy's an idiot and doesn't know anything about immigration? No. Let me show you clip number 7. Listen to what this idiot says about how he's going to stop federal immigration law. That's not how it works. You midget, you mental midget. Watch this, please.
I grew up undocumented in Charlotte, in the neighborhoods that so many immigrant families call home. And today I stand before you as not only the first Latino, but the first formerly undocumented member of the city council. Yesterday, the sheriff's office confirmed that CBP will be in our city. However, no transparency, no accountability, no explanation, not to my colleagues behind me, not to the public, not to the families who deserve to know what's happening in their own city. Let me say this clearly. This is not about public safety. It is not about finding criminals. It is about fear, it is about quotas, and it's about control. When federal agents enter our communities without warning, without cause, and without humanity, they are not keeping us safe. They are terrorizing our neighborhoods. And we do not welcome our communities being terrorized and attacked. Our Queen City will not become...
Our Queen City, you are such a piece of trash. Look, there's so much in a minute that idiot said. I'm the first undocumented, it's called illegal alien, you twat. You're the first illegal alien to sit in city council, and everybody's out there. Oh, what an accomplishment. Did you hear what he just said? Let's clap. Yeah, what did he say, Marjorie? I didn't catch it. Marjorie, he said he's the first illegal alien to be in the city council. Well, yes, let's clap for that. Let's clap for that. You people deserve every single thing you get, I swear to you. He says, we don't have a crime problem here. They're not public safety. Really? Really, you gay jackass? Let's look at number 8. Can you just pull up this post? Just a quick X post that shows number 8, Nick, that shows, wait a minute. Oh, wait. Human trafficking's up. What is it? It's up 70%. I'm leaning over to read it. Human trafficking soars in Charlotte, North Carolina. Why? Why, gay councilman that married a lesbian to get your citizenship? Why? Why would that happen? Because you have gangs rolling through there. You have countries that sell and rent their children. Diversity is not a strength. Diversity is a curse on America because Americans don't rent and sell their children. They do in Latin America and in Central America and in Mexico. Absolutely they do. I've watched it firsthand right in front of me. You have an illegal alien from Colombia making statements against federal agents that are busting their ass to keep people safe, and we have to deal with this idiot? And you think that's not going to come? That's Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte, North Carolina has 900,000 people in the city. Tons around the suburbs. But in the city, do you know out of 900,000, 150,000 are illegal aliens? Don't have a problem, do you, Juan? Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. Best way for you to support me, and I get emails from people, and I love getting emails, and they're telling me, I would say the vast majority, I get a couple cranks every now and then, but the vast majority, like 90, 95, 97%, just Keep speaking the truth. Thank you. I listen to you every day. I saw your clip from Stephen Gardner. I saw your clip from Redacted. I'm now all in. Thank you for speaking the truth. The best way for you to help me continue to speak the truth is to support me. Support me through my paywall. Support me through my website, jjcarrell.com, and support me through my Substack, jjcarrell.substack.com. That's scrolling underneath. I have free content and videos every single day. And every single day, I put written content and a 3-minute take, hard, bold, direct take on what's happening today. The best way for you to support me is to go to my website, jjcarrell.com, or my Substack, jjcarrell.substack.com. And the other way to support me is to support the sponsors that support this program, and that is sat123.com. Massive this morning, late yesterday, this morning, massive service disruption on X. I think it was Cloudflare, all that. They haven't come out and said it was attacked. Obviously, I'm assuming it's attacked, right? How do you prepare yourself from having no connectability? How do you prepare when your son, like mine is 14 years old, begins to drive, and then in a year he's going to be out on his own? How do I handle that? How's my connectability? What if he's in, I can't get a hold of him and there's an outage? How can I not get a hold of him if his cell tower goes down? Well, I have a sat phone. My wife has a sat phone. My son has a sat phone. I have a sat phone. It's in our glove boxes. My son will have a sat phone. My wife has a sat phone. It's in her car. I have mine in mine. My son gets his. He'll get one in his car. Why? Because I want to always have the ability to communicate. You may not see the world as I see it. I see it very differently. I understand that. I see it because 24 years in law enforcement, and then the world that I'm in now, I see it. I see the world as it is, not how I want it to be. There's a big difference. I see the world the way I see it, and I see a very violent, a very chaotic, a very unstable world. You don't have to share that with that sentiment with me. That's okay. But you should be prepared. You should be prepared. The other thing that I love in Sat123, and I'll plug this last product because my son uses it every day. And that's his ballistic backpack. I know you're like, what are you talking about? I know you've heard me talk about this before. A ballistic backpack. If there's a crazed transgender shooter in his private school, or someone that comes off the street, or he's going to get ice cream with his friends, or he's at a bowling alley, he has a backpack that he can curl up and have his vital organs saved from bullets. My son has a fighting chance. My wife has a ballistic backpack. I have one. We go travel. I'm covered. I have a fighting chance to keep my family safe. Sat123.com/JJ. I cannot encourage you enough to go to that website and look at their products. And my last thing, and something I love, when you call Sat123, you're going to speak to an American. You're not going to speak to Sally from Mumbai. You're going to speak to Sally from Sacramento. How may I help you? Holy cow, no accent? What? Yeah, I'm here. I'm Sally from Sacramento. I'm here to help you. What do you need? I know it's shocking. Shocking. Sat123.com/JJ. Let's dive right into this next topic. It makes me lose my mind. I just did a real take before I went on the show just about this topic, and that's Epstein. But I want to give you a different take, okay? A different look, a different perspective, that instead of all the regurgitated garbage that you have been told. But before I do that, I want to set this up for what I want to tell you on my take, my perspective. I want you to play number 9 for me. Nick, this is a PSA. These are the people, these women now, as they were young in their pictures, as they were brutally raped, sold, and degraded by everyone on the Epstein list. Listen to this.
I suffered so much pain.
So much pain.
So much pain.
I suffered so much pain. I was 14 years old.
I was 16 years old.
I was 16.
17.
14 years old.
This is me.
This was me. This is me.
When I met Jeffrey Epstein.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
There are about 1,000 of us.
It's time to bring the secrets out of the shadows. It's time to shine a light into the darkness.
About 1,000 of us. About 1,000 of us young girls that were raped. So if there were 1,000 of them, I believe that's going to be a low number. Let's just use this as a round number to set the stage of what I want to say. 1,000 of these young girls, not young women. Okay, I need to pause right here. I need to pause because I need to. This and we heard Megyn Kelly, who I love, made a horrific statement. Well, they weren't really underage. They're just because they were like 16, 14, 15, 16, 17. What in God's name are you saying, Megyn Kelly? Let me give you a just a perspective from a father. I don't have any daughters. I have sisters, and I have tons of nieces. But I'm going to just give you a look into what I see and how I see it as a man, okay? So my son's in 8th grade, and he has these 8th grade parties that they go to that the parents kind of put together. Bowling alley, we go to a thing called Chicken Pickle. They play pickleball. And when you see these young girls, they're all like 14, 15, 13, 14, 15. Same ages, a lot of the same age group that was flown into the island. We don't know if there's younger kids, right? Because younger kids, they're probably dead. But these women, okay, they're showing you pictures of when they were very young. The idea, I'm looking at these young girls that are around my son and their classmates. They're beautiful. They're beautiful young girls. They're so far from being a woman. It's like trying to ask someone to go, tomorrow, I want you to go walk to China. That's how far they are from being a woman. They don't even know how, they're awkward. Like my sons, they're awkward. They don't even know how to talk to a boy, more or less hold their hand, for God's sake. That would be like monumental to hold their hand. But they're supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be innocent. They're supposed to be pure. They're supposed to be laughing and giggling and saying, hey, I think Joseph likes you. Oh, he's so cute. Oh, can you give him this note? Should I just go talk to him? They're that awkward. We've all been there. We remember that. Those young girls that I'm seeing, my nieces that are young, they're not ready for a sexual intercourse with a 60-year-old man. Okay? Even if in this world that they get pushed into sex, they're usually having sex with other 14-year-olds or 15-year-olds. They're not getting aroused by having sex with Bill Clinton at 65, 70 years old. These women that you saw in that video, their pain is right, it's at the surface. It's for the world to see. They carry it every single day. Think about what you did at 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. Think of that transition. And now think of it being ripped away. You're on some island, some faraway island. You don't even know where your parents are. Nobody gives a rip. Nobody even knows you're alive. All you know is you have to go service some 70-year-old prince from England that you're grotesquely repulsed by. And when you're done with him, you're going to do Bubba. 1,000 girls? Are you telling me that there's 1,000 girls equal 1,000 Johns? Meaning every girl just serviced one person over and over and over and over again, or they shared them. This was like a school party. I got 1,000 girls and I got 1,000 pedos. They're all going to share each other. You think that's what happened? Was there sharing? Yes. But you're telling me that is a 1-for-1? Or was it one child for 10,000? I asked one of the ladies that was on that island. I said, could I make the statement that you could agree that if there's 1,000 women, excuse me, I made a mistake. There's 1,000 young girls. Could I easily say, would you agree that there was at least 100,000 pedo Johns? You know what she said? At least, probably 1 million. Now to my perspective before I go on to other videos to prove my point. It is now not even a question if Epstein was involved in the intel world. It's not even a question. How do I know that? I know that because I know for multiple declarations by politicians and people that are in the know, but we heard it just today. Just today. Speaker Johnson came up, they did a vote, I think it just passed, but Speaker Johnson talks about how we have to release it, and then in the same breath, in the same press conference, talks about how we should not release everything because why, Speaker Johnson? Why? Tell us, Speaker Johnson. Well, because this is a national security issue. There's intelligence that could be released. So what you're telling me, Speaker Johnson, without saying it out loud, is that we can't release everything because the people that have been raping young children are being used right now for our benefit. That Jeffrey Epstein was involved in the intel agency. We know for sure that it was the CIA. We know for sure it was the Israeli Mossad. And we're being told, or at least led along to believe, that it was other intel agencies, MI6, some other, I'm sure other ones. But the main ones was Mossad and CIA. So with all of that laid out for my audience, stop thinking of just the young girls and the pedos. That's almost an incredible task for me to ask. But for a moment, just for the next 60 seconds, let's push them aside and let's understand with complete clarity that our government knew that our government was facilitating the raping of young girls for our government's benefit. Our government colluded with Israeli Mossad and other intel agencies, knowingly that at the same time they were filming and audio taping young girls being raped for the betterment of the United States of America and Israel. It is not disputed. You cannot argue with me about this. This is a factual truth that our federal government allowed young women to be raped. Now, does it make more sense to you when you hear me say that our government must be burnt to the ground? I have heard arguments for not releasing the Epstein files for this, almost a quote. If we release every name, our economy, our government, and our social society would collapse. And my retort back to these people are very simple. Are you telling me my economy, my social fabric of my country, and my country will collapse if we do not continue to allow pedophilia to be the glue that holds us together? Can you please play number 12? This is Speaker Johnson trying to convince you that it's the Democrats' fault. That man's been in power for almost 2-3 years now. He has the ability to release everything for almost a year now, and he's done nothing. Go ahead and play this, please, Nick, number 12.
But the truth is, the biggest proponents of this discharge petition were never actually interested in transparency or ensuring justice or protecting victims of this unspeakable tragedy, the Epstein evils. And how do we know that? Because the Democrats had every one of the Epstein files in their possession for the 4 long years of the Biden administration. The Biden Department of Justice had the files the entire time. And not a single one of the people who are so loud and animated right now, they never said anything about it for all those 4 years. None of them held press conferences. None of them demanded the release of the documents. And under Biden's DOJ, when they prosecuted just Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, not a single one of these Democrats or any of the proponents of the discharge ever made any noise about that at all. But the truth is...
Yeah, but the truth is, Speaker, later on in that interview, you talk about how a lot of it needs to be redacted. No, I don't want any of it redacted. I want the whole nation in the world to see that Mossad and our CIA were allowing kids to be raped. I want to see it all. And I want to see every single person that was raping women. And I want them all thrown in jail. And I mean all of them. And I don't care. Look, I don't think Donald Trump's involved. But if Donald Trump's involved, throw his ass in jail too. All of them. Anybody that says different is a traitor, a coward, and they don't care about justice. How bad is the rot in America government? I'm going to show you an example. And if you think this is the only example, if you think this is the only politician that's being controlled by Epstein or was controlled by Epstein, or you think that this is not continuing on today, you're a fool. I'm going to show you a video. If you can cue it up, let me just lay it out for you. This lady on the right, this disgusting piece of trash. She's a Democrat rep named Stacey Plaskett. She is doing a congressional testimony, sworn testimony with Trump's attorney Cohen. Remember that sleazebag Cohen? And she's trying to get him to make allegations against Trump. But she's an idiot. She has no idea what she's talking about. So guess who is texting her and telling her what to do and what to say and what questions to ask? Well, that would be Jeffrey Epstein. Watch this. This is how vile our government is.
Obama was president of the United States. And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals.
So what that is those text messages were real time.
Individuals, an organization, they're
The financial officer.
You got to quickly give us as many names as you can so we can get to them.
You can stop it right there, Nick. That woman was taking direction. She's from the Virgin Islands. So that was her constituent. She took money from him. This delegate was questioning a witness, and she was asking questions that Epstein was asking. And then prior to or at the end of that dialogue, that text dialogue between Epstein and that woman, Epstein's telling her how beautiful she looks. Are you telling me that Epstein doesn't have some kind of sexual thing that he did to her or she did to someone else and she's got him? Are you telling me, if I'm a congressman or delegate or whatever hell you want to call her, and or me, and I'm sitting at my desk, I'm taking text messages from a convicted pedophile? That's what no one else wants to talk about. Katie Couric, George Stephanopoulos. Do you know they went to a party after Epstein was released from his first sentence? Now, can you imagine me? I have a friend, and that friend, maybe let's say someone on my football team in college, real good friend. Turns out he's a pedophile. And he gets out of jail and he calls me and says, "Hey, JJ, I'm throwing me a big party. Come on down. We're celebrating. I'm out of jail." No, buddy, I'm sorry. You know what you should do? You should get on your knees and beg God for forgiveness and take that money that you're going to spend on this big party and flying people in like Couric and Stephanopoulos. Why don't you give that to the victims so that maybe they can have some kind of nest egg to start and overcome all your rapes and abuses? But they didn't. They went and celebrated with him. And this woman in a congressional hearing to try to slander Trump is taking orders from a convicted pedophile. And you're telling me the lady from the Virgin Islands doesn't understand who this man is and what he's doing? But let's go back in a time machine just about 6 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. There was a vote in the Senate to release all Epstein evidence. And do you know what group of politicians voted against it? Well, that'd be the Republican senators voted against it, led by John Thune. 1,000 known victims, with probably thousands more, but 1,000 known to each other victims. People I have interviewed that have been on the island, were sexually trafficked on the island, said, JJ, that number of John's pedophiles, I'd feel comfortable with 100,000 to 1 million. If it's that many, do you think that 100, let's go to the lowest level of number, 100,000. Do you think that 100,000, inside of that 100,000, does not catch a significant percentage of our politicians, past and current? Do you think that it captured the vast majority of the financiers, the billionaires, the entertainment sector in Hollywood that is run by pedophiles? Of course they're in that net. And that is why they will not release it. I don't want his flight manifest. I don't want those stupid white binders that Pam Bondi handed out to all those stupid schmucky influencers that got used like a piece of wood, just got used. I want everything. I want the videos of the rapes. I want you to black out the faces and bodies of the victims, and I want to see the pedophiles completely stark naked. And I want to see them raping women. And I want that to burn into the consciousness of every American, because I want justice. And if you're going to hide these people, then you're as guilty as they are. We have a massive pedophilia problem within our churches, our economies, our media, our entertainment, and inside of our government. And as soon as we come to the realization and acceptance that we have evil, deviant, sexual perverts and people that should burn in hell for eternity leading our country, well, then just then, maybe we'll begin to not ask for change, not demand it, but we force change into our country. Go and have these kind of conversations without any filters. And for God's sake, stop being fearful.